You're listening to the Man That Can Project with Lockie Stewart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to the Man That Can Project.
So thank you guys for tuning in again. I hope you're getting value from these daily or bi-daily. If you're in the Man That Can private Facebook group, you'll be getting more interaction daily. So I hope you're getting value from it. So what I want to talk about this morning, obviously loneliness is a big thing that a lot of people are experiencing, probably now more so than ever. But I also know there are a lot of people who experience this on a regular basis, and I've experienced it even when I had a lot of people around me, right? There is a big difference in my opinion about being around people, so not necessarily being lonely, and also the feeling of loneliness. And I want to share a bit about my experience with that, how it sort of played out, what was going on, and hopefully you can take some perspectives but also some tools to implement into your own life, especially during COVID, because a lot of us have had our social circles cut off, and there are points where, where we are feeling lonely and we're not really knowing what to do during this period of time. So, take you back the point where I felt loneliness, and this was, when I moved back from Europe. Like I said, you guys have probably heard this a ton, and even though I was around a lot of people, I was around my mates, I still felt lost. I still felt lonely, and I really felt like I wasn't being heard or understood. And even though, I was having a heap of great times, catching up with friends, having conversations, there was still something that left me feeling like I didn't belong. Right? And just from what I've touched on, just keep in mind that if you can relate to any of that at times where we do feel lonely, in my opinion, and from what I look back from my own experience, a lot of that came from the fact I didn't have a sense of belonging. Even though I did belong with my mates, I didn't have that feeling at that particular time. I wasn't feeling heard. Okay? And I didn't feel connected. And, this is not only with myself, but the people around me. And what I, sort of learnt over that period of time, I had so many negative thoughts at that point in time. I didn't have people to share experiences with because I didn't feel like they would understand me. I didn't have people to have conversations with where I left walking away going, that person understood what I was going through. And as a result, that made me start turning internal or turning in on myself and going, I don't feel like I can express who I am. I don't feel like I can express what's really going on for me because I just am not feeling like I belong anywhere. Now, I'll keep showing up in day-to-day life with a big smile on my face and, chatting around, but I just don't feel like any of that's being met. And when I look back on that and I think back to that period of time, and I feel like definitely a lot of people are potentially in this situation now, that it's a lot of that is perspective, right? And if we have people around us, there's times where we're feeling heard, we feel like we have that sense of belonging, and there's not. Generally, 9 times out of 10, it's the same event, right? It's the same situation, it's the same circumstance, but it's how we're interpreting. And the reason why I share that, and I believe that was something that I wish I knew and I understood back then, was because it put me back in the driver's seat. For a long time, I felt like I didn't belong and I didn't fit in and I was lonely because I gave all that power and attention to people around me, rather than taking ownership and going, well, is it maybe how I'm choosing to show up? Is it maybe that I feel like, I'm not being listened to? What can I do to change that? And, over the years that has changed, and while, now I don't have as many people around me, I feel more connected than ever, and I feel more accepted than ever, and I feel like I am being heard and I am being understood. And a lot of that, not only comes from, I've got great people in my life, but it's also the fact that I choose to see it that way. There are a lot of people out there who probably think I'm a twat and post too much on social media and all that sort of stuff, but I don't care because I choose not to focus on that. I choose to focus on the messages that I get daily that are from people who are getting value. Or even if I didn't get messages, I would still feel the fact that I am proud of myself because I'm sharing what I believe in. I am sharing my experiences, and I feel like I'm being heard because of, even you guys who are tuning in on here, or if you're a part of the Man That Can project community. It allows me to feel like I belong and feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself. And that's, ultimately why that community is there, because there are so many men out there, right, who can feel like I felt, and you may be experiencing it now, or you may have experienced it in the past, or you may be yet to experience, where you do feel lonely, right? You do feel disconnected. You do feel like people don't understand you and you aren't being heard. And I feel like that's a normal experience that a lot of us will go through. There are some things that we can do to get back on top of that, and ultimately, I believe it's putting ourselves back in the driver's seat, right? It's about understanding what it is that I need to do in order to feel connected. What is it that I need to do to feel understood? What is it that I need to do to feel heard without having to rely on other people? Right? Human connection is one of the most powerful things, and my mate Maddie talks about it a lot. But we also know that, as humans, love and connection is one of the, most sought after human needs, right? I think it's top 4. So we all want that in our own way. And as individuals, we can do things to help people feel that way, right? Which is, I talk about this all the time. My favorite quote of all time is seek first to understand before being understood. So allow people to feel like you are seeking to understand, their point of view and why they may have certain beliefs, and it makes them feel like they belong. It makes them feel connected. It makes them feel like they're being heard. And I know all of us know how good that feels at one point or another, even if it's only been for a small microsecond where you go, fuck, that person gets me. Or if you're talking to yourself, right, if you want to understand yourself, it's being honest with yourself. There's no better way to feel fucking connected or heard or a sense of belonging when the moment that you start acknowledging yourself and who you feel you are as an individual. Because a lot of us aren't doing that, right? A lot of us put ourselves and create a life where we feel lonely because we are conforming, essentially. We are doing what we believe we are meant to do in order to feel good, in order to feel like we have that sense of belonging and to fit in. So we, most people go to school, get a job, do all that sort of stuff, and hang around certain people that necessarily they may have outgrown, right? They may have a new interest or hobby or something that they want to explore, but they're not exploring it because, it may rock the boat a little bit. They may have to change some things in their life. And because we are suppressing aspects of our life, and because we're suppressing, conversations that we want to have and activities that we want to try, we then are feeling disconnected. So you can see how we're putting ourselves in this loop, and we're building a life that supports that loop based off of us not getting connected with ourselves and based off the fact that we're not being honest with ourselves. So looking back on, obviously my experience and knowing what I know now, and probably what I wish I heard many years ago, was if you can learn to connect with yourself properly and really understand who you are and what it is that you want, right? What it is that you needs to happen, what rules you've set in order to feel heard, in order to feel like you have a sense of belonging, then you know that when you go out and actively, put those steps in play and work towards doing that, you're going to be doing that for the right situation, in the right circumstances, rather than doing that in the completely wrong environment. So if you are feeling lonely and you're a bloke, obviously, first and foremost, we'd love to have you a part of the Man That Can community, and you can just sit there and listen to other dudes' perspectives, and, when you feel the time is right, you can get involved, get actively involved. But even if you're not at that point quite yet, just start asking, yourself and listening to your gut, right? Like listening and trusting your gut. It's like, what is it that you feel you need right now? What is missing? Because I know a lot of people want a partner there. Okay, and what specifically is it about a partner that you want? Is it you just want someone to voice an opinion to? Is it, okay, cool, do you need a partner to do that, or can you call a friend? Can you, have a sense of belonging in various other ways? Jumping on Zoom meetings are a big thing at the moment. What can you actively do to get yourself involved in that? But it's also, if you're wanting to put yourself in a position where you feel heard, you got to ask yourself, are you ready to speak yet? Because a lot of people aren't. So, you got to hear yourself first and get yourself to a point where you're ready to feel comfortable speaking up and putting your thoughts and ideas and voice out there. So there is a process that goes with this, guys, but ultimately, if you want to stop that loneliness feeling, there are people that care about you, know that. But, if you're holding yourself back in any way, shape or form and you're not being your authentic self, I think a lot of us are going to struggle with that feeling of loneliness and disconnection and not belonging. So, there's plenty of great resources and tools out there. Lifeline's doing some great things. You can be a part of our community. There's plenty of other communities out there as well that you can get involved in, or even just check back in with yours, right? Get on the phone and start practicing that skill again. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great, Thursday. Have a great fucking Thursday, and we'll chat with you all shortly. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I really appreciate, the time that you invest in yourself to help yourself learn new tools and get different perspectives on how to become, a better version of yourself, to take ownership of your life and become the man that you want to be, and confidently do that by building resilience. So, gents, please continue to share the episodes. I love seeing your tags on social media. It means a lot that you're taking that extra bit of time to share it with your communities and create that ripple effect. It's fucking unreal. And if you aren't already a member of the Man That Can Project's Facebook community, please dive in there. As a member of the community, obviously you can get involved in discussions and different ways of thinking. I'm always posting things that I'm learning, but also questions to help you get you thinking and stimulating, and challenging your beliefs so that you really can overcome some of the things that are holding you back. So if you're a man who really wants to take more ownership of your life, build some more resilience and confidence, then this is definitely the group you want to be a part of. You can find the links in my Instagram bios, or just search the Man That Can Project on Facebook and make sure you select the group, not the page. Until next time, see you soon. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lockie Stewart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.